missing persons report.
Yeah, and I'll totally come forward with that.
That's all it is the truth. So there's nothing to hide in that coroner's report. There's nothing to hide by not having Callie take a polygraph. And if the truth comes out, and this was assumed.
How do you deal with it? I had to sneak the other day when I was with Josie. I had to sneak and talk to him. I had to sneak and talk to him about sister.
Well, makes me think the worst. Like, did you do that to all three of them?
Hi, everybody. Thank you for being here. Let me just, first off, I wanted to start off by thanking my moderators and Crime Curious for becoming a member. I just wanted to say, you know, the Pink Dahlia and Karen, you know, Callie, I know you're not a moderator, but you and Allison, Vicky, you guys are just really awesome. And I just wanted to say I really appreciate all my subscribers and everyone who tunes in. And hello, Margot. It's good to see you again. So yeah, this obviously is a stream about Summer Wells, the 5-year-old, now 6-year-old who has been missing since the 15th of June last year. So we're coming up on the year mark. I mean, once we get through the springtime, and we are pretty much at exactly the same spot we were on, you know, the 15th. A lot of
With a missing child.
That didn't really lead to anything substantial. And just, you know, a lot of sketchy people surrounding this girl at around the time that she was reported missing. Parents are still on the suspect list, and as everybody knows, Dawn is away in jail. So I'm sure everybody has had a chance to see Grandus, Candace's mother, Summer's grandmother's interview she finally did with the media. I think that we're just going to break that down and kind of compare it to her previous interview that she did about her missing daughter, Rose. And, you know, we can't forget about Rose Bly. She's been missing for a while now, and we're just going to compare. Okay, good, Callie. I'm going to run through it after I share this old one of Candace's mother. Everyone refers to her as Grandus, so I guess we might as well just continue calling her Grandus. So when Rose went missing, she talked to the media, and everyone has sort of seen this footage before, I'm sure, or maybe you haven't. It's from, you know, years ago. And I just feel like personally that I just notice a significant difference in the way Grandus talks about her missing daughter, Rose, in comparison to her interview that she did about Summer last week. So we'll compare her temperament and her body language. And I guess we're just going to overanalyze, because that's what we do here. So if you guys are into critiquing and overanalyzing this stuff, stick around. If you feel like Grandus is different, I mean, speak up in chat. I'll check back with the chat, and we can converse that way. And hello, CDT. Thank you for being here. So yeah, I just feel like her old interview about Rose is just totally different than her talking about Summer. And I guess I'll just get right into it.
With a missing child, it's...
So when I started recording, it kind of cut off for a second. She says, when it comes to a missing child, so I mean, you can... I just wanted to say that because I kind of cut it off before I recorded. And thank you, Ambi, for becoming a member. Thank you so much.
Child, there's a hole in your heart that can't be filled. it's an impossible journey every day to wake up and wonder.
So right off the bat, she said it's an impossible journey, to wake up every day and wonder. To me, I mean, obviously there's sad music playing in the background, but just her in this, I feel it's very genuine sorrow. I don't know how you guys are feeling.
Where she is.
Just trying to figure out where my daughter is. It's horrible. It's not a good feeling. It's just, I wish I knew where she was.
So here she goes on to explain it more. It's horrible. It's not a good feeling. I wish I knew where she was. It sounds very normal for a mother to be saying these types of phrases too. It just sounds like, as Chris McDonough and Steve kind of talked about last night in their live stream, it's just human nature. So you expect certain things to come from certain situations with certain people talking about those situations. And there's always you can count on almost the same reaction. Like Chris McDonough compared it to the club that nobody wants to be in, the one where the parents lose their child. And sadly, I hope none of us have to experience that, like Chris and even Grandus here. But, they have that feeling like their natural reaction and their tone and all that just sounds genuine because they're speaking from the heart. And I feel like Grandis in this footage, I don't know if you guys agree, but I just feel like she's speaking from her heart sincerely here about Rose. So I'm just going to play it again all the way through without talking.
With a missing child, there's a hole in your heart that can't be filled. And it's an impossible journey every day to wake up and wonder where she is.
Just trying to figure out where my daughter is. It's horrible. It's not a good feeling. It's just, I wish I knew where she was.
Okay. So now I'm going to pull up her most recent interview that she did about her granddaughter, Summer Wells. And we will compare. And just let me know, is it the same vibe you're feeling or is it different? I figured I would play the whole interview through and then, oh wait, no. What I want to do is play it and then pause and talk about my feelings of it. And then I'm going to, hold on, let me just speed it up. And then I'm going to read off the notes that Chris McDonough and his guest, who is that lingual expert, Steve, what they pretty much pulled apart from Grandus's interview. So give me 1 second to share my screen. And again, thank you for being here, everyone. And this is a part of fair use. And this is WJHL.
Candace and I got up that morning. She came out and took me into the ER because my leg was messing up on me.
So I just noticed too, she kind of starts to say appointment, but then she says, took me to the ER. So is it nothing? Yeah, probably. But I just thought it was interesting because, and I'll share what Chris said afterwards, but yeah.
And we were afraid something was wrong with my knee. I have a knee replacement.
right off the bat, I mean, she like looks distracted, just different vibe for me. Her pauses are interesting, Margot says. I agree. Thank you, Tommy.
And she was worried that there was something wrong with it. And she took me into the hospital. And I ended up getting a shot for it.
And something that I know CDT and I have been saying from the get-go, just very strange of all days to have the emphasis of having to have her knee checked. It happened to be that day. You know what I mean? It's just for anyone to have to bring their mom to the ER, that's already like a hassle and just a terrible event. And it's just like, of all days, that happened on the day Summer goes missing. And it's just, I don't know. It seems like the hospital could possibly be like an alibi or something like that for Grandus, but I don't know. I'm not 100% sure.
To get rid of the pain. And they prescribed me medication to take to get the swelling down out of my knee and around my knee because it was inflamed. And then we waited around for my prescription. Summer went swimming that day at the horse stables, I believe it was.
She's definitely giving off heavy sighs. I did notice she sort of did some heavy sighs talking about Rose too. So, it's obviously a reaction to stress. She keeps saying we. I wish she was more specific so we could actually get, her to slip up or maybe just more information in general. H is never mentioned, I don't believe, in any of her little segments of this interview. If I'm wrong, let me know. Allison is already saying she sounds angry. I agree. She sounds annoyed by this having to come out. And again, remember, this came out right after Sheriff Lawson said that the parents weren't cooperating and they've lawyered up. So then all of a sudden, and I've been watching other channels kind of critique this too, and everyone's pretty much saying the same thing, like, why all of a sudden did she feel the need to come out after staying silent for so long? Yeah, Lena says no sorrow for Summer. Her demeanor was angry, nothing about Summer. And when she was talking about Rose, I didn't get that same like anger vibe, like she's just talking about her experience. She gave examples of things she was wishing, like, I wish I knew where she was, and it's not a good feeling at all not knowing, and it's just totally different in my opinion than this whole segment.
And then we come back and I went in my camper, and after we brought my groceries in for me, and the boys helped with that, and of course Summer. And I laid down, went to sleep, and I got up.
Oddly enough, although she's not making eye contact, I noticed in the one about Rose, she doesn't really make. It's very short. It's much shorter than this little interview, but she makes way less eye contact in this interview than she did about Rose, from what I saw. And anyone who's replaying this after it's live, feel free to leave in the comments down below your thoughts too.
Up, and I was sitting in my doorway, and we come out, and Candace asked me what I was doing. I said, well, we got to transplant these little cactuses into bigger pots. And we did that, and then Summer came in and had a piece of peppermint, which is her favorite. And then she went in, she said, Mama, I want to go play with the boys. Candy walked her back to the house, and she asked the boys to keep an eye on her, and that's the last time I seen her.
Tell me when you first realized Summer was missing, what was going on?
So another thing that I noticed when I first watched this, and let me say hi to those who have just joined: Newfie Girl, Meg, Sweet Pea, Rumple Long Hair, hello. B Shiv. So one thing that I noticed about this that Chris McDonough and Steve didn't say is this one statement that she says when she says, and that's the last time I saw her. But she says the last time she saw her was like when she went in to talk to the boys. But she was outside or, planting flowers at that moment. So that actually wasn't the last time she saw her. The last time she saw Summer was Summer saying, I want to go inside. And according to Candace, I want to go inside and play with my toys. And then Candace walks her to the front. So when she's saying the boys, she went inside with the boys and that was the last time she saw her. If I'm overanalyzing, then maybe, but technically that wasn't her seeing her the last time. That was the last time the boys saw her. And that was the last time Candace saw her because Candace walked her up to the door. So I just want to hear that again. And just look at her face here. Just very, I don't know, mean. There's no other word for it. It's just, when you know that this came out after the sheriff said what he said, that's why there's like this defensive tone. I get the feeling, you know what I mean?
Tell me when you first realized that someone was missing, what was going through your mind? And tell me when you first
Walked her back to the house, and she asked the boys to keep an eye on her, and that's the last time I seen her.
tell me when you first realized that someone was missing, what was going through your mind, and what was it like here?
To be blunt, it was hell. And I apologize, I'm blunt. As everybody knows,
So they go into detail with this also, and I'll read you what they were saying about this part. But for her to bluntly, as she says it, say it was hell, that's just so, like, that term is so broad in a way, like what made it hell? It's just, and then she goes, sorry, I'm blunt. It's just, in my opinion, being blunt like that is just an excuse to kind of give some I'm not saying it wasn't hell, but I just feel like this way to say it this way and then apologize for being blunt, it gets to the point of like, it was horrendous, but it also saves her from having to really dig deep into details and, really give us a scene of what was going on at that moment, so yes, Pink Dahlia understands me to deflect in some way. Exactly. Yeah, it really is that she has that resting face. True. Oh no, you lost power, Punksy? And I don't know whose puppy it is. But yeah, I just feel like not only I agree, Tommy, it does sound very rehearsed. And even Chris McDonough and Steve said they're all sticking to the script. It's just exactly Pink Dahlia. She gives a broad term instead of the details. Exactly. Like, obviously this journalist wants to know like the scene from grandma's perspective at that moment, and we all want to know that. We've been waiting forever for this interview, and all she has to say is it was hell, sorry, I'm blunt. And that, to me, it's like, I almost wonder if it felt like hell because it brought back like PTSD type feelings with Rose being missing. You know what I mean? It's just it just makes me wonder what exactly was hell about it. I don't know. I just wish we got more of a description there, but at the same time, hell can be a huge description. It's just unfortunate that we don't get more from her. You would think after she said, I'm sorry, I'm blunt, maybe there'd be a moment where she'd have to catch her breath because she's getting emotional or something like that. It just didn't seem like the same as it was when she spoke about Rose. Do you guys know what I'm saying?
knows I have a missing daughter. She's been gone for 12 years. And all I could say is, oh God, not again. And I couldn't do nothing but cry. And we yelled for her, and we yelled for her.
And that's, her follow-up statement about Rose and all I could think was, oh God, not again. I mean, that really could be true feelings, high sleepless in South Africa. That could be her real feelings. You know what I'm saying? Like the PTSD of, and remember, Candace didn't talk to the cops on the 15th. She stayed inside. Grandus spoke with the cops and Don spoke with the cops. So Grandus is having to be in this situation again, and her daughter has been missing, so I'm sure she, like anyone would with a traumatic situation, you have flashbacks. It really could have felt like hell to her because of what she really did go through with Rose, and now it's just happening again, and she's having to step in. So I just think that that is a possibility.
And yelled for her. And we could not find her. Candy was in hysterics.
And we yelled for her, and we yelled for her. That statement has remained the same from Grandis. She made one statement to the Rogersville, whatever that media outlet is that's down there, a local one. She made one statement to them way long ago, I think last June, and pretty much said, please, I hope we find my granddaughter. We yelled for her. It's devastating, something to that effect. So she's just repeating her same statement that she had already given cops and already given the media. We yelled for her and we yelled for her. And when she says Candy was in hysterics, that's also, yes, Rogersville Review. Thank you, Single Mama 4. Hi, BLN and Pointer Lover. Thank you for being here. So pretty much I was just feeling as though Candace being in hysterics can mean much more than, it's just another broad statement. It kind of paints a picture, but at the same time, that can also mean various things, like what exactly was she in hysterics about? Like, I know we're led to believe that it's about Summer missing, but I don't know. Is it about something else?
We never did find her. She called 911 and she called Donnie, and we sent the boys down over the hill, and I stood in front of over by the edge there and watched them, and was praying to God every minute that nobody would take them.
So the other thing that I'd noticed when CDT did her live on this footage is she said, we called 911, then we called Donnie, and actually it was the other way around. But, the details, I guess we could give her a leniency on it maybe because it happened the other way around and maybe she forgot. But if we're going to critique and analyze, she just said that they called 911 before calling Donnie. And according to Don and Candace, it was the other way around.
And there was no sign of her.
Do you believe that someone took Summer, or do you believe that she wandered off? What do you believe happened?
I believe somebody took her. I know people say it doesn't happen, but it does happen. It happens in small towns. It happens in big towns. It happens in the country. And I believe somebody took her.
We all need help, just different kinds.
So once again, sticking to the script as everyone's pretty much been saying, same story, a little bit different, kind of, you know what I mean? Let me share another one with Candace, and then let me know what you guys think as far as comparing her interview about Rose to her interview about Summer. Thank you for being here.
Mr. Lawson stated that Candace and the whole family lawyered up. I can't speak for Donnie, and I know Candace hasn't because she's told me she hasn't, and I have not. If law enforcement wants to talk to me, TBI wants to talk to me, they have my phone number. They know when I leave the state. They know when I'm here.
Summer Wells' grandmother, Candace Hare, says she hasn't spoken with law enforcement since December 13th.
They have not contacted me since the YouTubers were down here in the driveway, and we asked them about trespassing.
Summer's grandma was with her granddaughter all day on June 15th, the day she disappeared. She walked me through what they did that day and said she and Summer were repotting cactus plants outside of her camper, and then
Summer came in and had a piece of peppermint, which is her favorite, and then she went in. She said, "Mama, I want to go play with the boys." Candy walked her back to the house, and she asked the boys to keep an eye on her, and that's the last time I seen her.
As the 9-month mark of when her granddaughter was reported missing approaches, she says the social media and online rumors have to stop.
If they want to help, that's great. But if they want to spread lies, that's a different story. Because that's all they're doing now is spreading lies. They're reaching and trying to figure out what lie can we spread now. And I'm tired of it.
Candace Wells made a statement but did not go on camera. She said, "I've never stopped talking to law enforcement. No, I've not lawyered up. I don't understand why this is being said. I can't speak for Don, and we are willing to do whatever to bring our daughter Summer home. Thanks for all the searchers."
Okay. So Pointer Lover says these statements sound genuine. Another thing I noticed too is she'd said that Summer said, "I want to go inside and play with the boys." So if she was there planting flowers with Candace and Summer, she's quoting Summer, "I want to go inside to play with the boys." Correct me if I'm wrong, but doesn't Candace say that she asked to go inside and play with her toys? So if that's the last conversation that Grandus is hearing from Summer's mouth, those are the last words that she hears Summer say. "I want to go inside and play with the boys." Why is something like that not aligning with what Candace says? And maybe it's just, they heard the word wrong or they mixed it up, but it's just strange. Candace has always said she wanted to go play with her toys. Now we have Grandus coming out saying she says she wanted to go in and play with the boys. And the boys were playing video games from my understanding. So how could she go inside and play with them? I mean, I don't know how many controllers they have for this gaming system or whatever, but it just seemed like that was sort of a discrepancy too in the stories. I don't know. That's just my opinion. Let me switch screens. So this was a new picture that I'd seen Candace shared on her social media. Oh no, it was on her YouTube channel in one of the videos that she uploaded. And I'd noticed somebody shared it and said they'd never seen this picture before. And I realized I'd never seen this picture either. And not only do I just feel like it's just a forced smile, I also noticed from what people were commenting and from what I see, and again, if I'm wrong, let me know, but somebody had said that was a U-Haul. And if my memory serves me right, H's father said that they all came down there and they had a U-Haul. And that her hair is very short here, so it would be around, I don't know. Was her head shaved when H's dad and those 14 guys or whatever drove down there? Okay, people are saying, hi, Kay Danielle. Actually, I wanted to give you a wrench to mod if you're interested. But yeah, I had seen that it looked like a U-Haul, and I had seen, I'm pretty sure H's dad said that they had rented a U-Haul. So that I just don't know if it's just a coincidence, but I mean, how often was Summer around a U-Hauls? The other thing is, from what I remember, H's dad also said that he only met her for a brief moment, and I think they were in their vehicles or whatever. So I just don't understand. Like, was there were people moving? Did H move or something to the city? Like, was that around that time too, Amanda? Do you know? Hi, my heart to yours. I just thought it was really weird. Oh, wow. Sky Z, I didn't even notice that. Hang on. What? I don't know. I don't know, guys. Okay, Michelle said her head was shaved Easter. Was it shaved in 2020? That's what I'd like to know, Meg. Was it only one time that it was shaved? Not sure. I was looking on Facebook looking for pics around that time. And again, this isn't me bringing this here saying this is H's dad's U-Haul that he mentioned. I just thought strange, the connection. And I would just like to know a timeline of her head shaving, because I think she had like just the back of her head shaved in March of 2020 when they're in that video with the boys on the dirt bikes. I think only the back of her head is shaved there, but I'm not 100%. I don't know. Yeah, Pink Dahlia, guys, I didn't even notice that. She said that's the second pic that insinuates a sale. Okay, December 18th, she had long hair. Okay, so this would be after 2020, after H's dad allegedly was in the area. But okay, so we can debunk that it was H's dad's U-Haul he mentioned because of the hair. But this whole thing that everyone's saying about the barrel and now this, I didn't even make that connection. So I'm glad I brought it to your guys' attention. That's troubling. Maybe it's nothing, who knows? I don't know, guys. Yeah, the back of her head, apparently, Meg, they said that she had shaved it on accident. I don't know. I don't really buy it. Her demeanor, Pointer Lover says, is totally different here. Oh, are you watching I think you might be a few minutes behind the Grandus interview. Yeah, I definitely think her demeanor from her interview about Rose and her demeanor about Summer are worlds apart. Yes, Karen. Another picture where she looks totally posed. It's a forced smile, in my opinion. It just looks very painful, this smile. It's not natural, in my opinion. I just don't know. Like, was she placed there? Do kids normally sit on that spot on U-Hauls? I don't know. Yes, Grandus changed the whole timeline. Yep. Now I'm going to pull up my notes from Chris McDonough and what he pretty much, him and his lingual analysis, the expert, pretty much said about that Candace interview and their opinion. I have it noted, and let me just pull Grandus back up on the screen so that we can look at who we're talking about. Definitely agree. A lot of pictures do seem posed. Yeah. And I just really appreciate the channels who are keeping Rose's name out there. I know Alex Erickson did a really interesting live stream earlier about her, and CDT and a few other channels, you know, make a point to mention Rose because it's just an important aspect of this case when you think about the likelihood of, you know, Grandus knowing two of her, you know, very close family members gone missing. It's all connected. And I don't mean like the cases. I just mean, just think about the statistics and what's possible and what's not. All right, I am going to relocate downstairs. So give me like 30 seconds, guys. Thank you for being here. And make sure to subscribe and like this video. Okay, sorry about that, guys. I got kicked out of the office so my fiance could do his schoolwork. You got it, Meg. Hopefully that never happens, though. She said, if I ever go missing, I want y'all on my case. Yeah, sorry, Ambi. I was moving out of the room downstairs. I got kicked out. So, wait, do I have my phone? Okay. My notes are here. Chris McDonough and his lingual analysis expert, obviously both law enforcement. So I trust their opinion and I trust that they know what they're talking about. So the notes that I took, did anyone notice that Grandus was in a wheelchair in some of the pictures from this whole media segment? Not when she's on camera here, but if you look at the pictures of Candace writing her her letter or note, she said, or I mean, you could see Grandus in a wheelchair. Did anybody see that? So just a note that Chris and Steve said was they found it interesting that she was seen in a wheelchair in pictures, but then had no problem getting in this kind of lawn chair pretty much that, you know, is not good for your back or whatever. It was just something that I thought was interesting that they noticed. So they kind of brought that up. And then they also mentioned, yeah, there's like, okay, Susan saw it. There is pictures, and in the background, you see Grandus in a wheelchair. So that was noted. Another thing that Chris and Steve brought up was the fact that we have no reason to believe really that those pictures weren't from that day, like at the horse pond or the milk jug pick. But until we see the real proof, there is a possibility that the pictures that we think are from that day aren't from that day. We have no reason to believe that. And Chris McDonough said that he has somebody that he relies on as a good source that told him she was seen at Walgreens that day. So, again, it is hearsay because it's through Chris, but if I'm going to source people, it's going to be, ex-law enforcement or, just people I trust their research on, like CDT, Crazy Crime Chick, Amanda, like, Kelly's searches. They do really good work. So I would, I have no problem sharing things that they bring. So if Chris McDonough is going to give that opinion, then I feel like that was notable. So anyone who was kind of throwing the idea around that maybe she had gone missing on a different day and this was all staged, blah, 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 blah. I guess I've kind of taken that off my list because I kind of had that idea floating around in my head. I know a couple other people thought that too. Like there was a possibility maybe that, she was gone or whatever on another day. And then this was kind of just laid out on the 15th. But according to Chris, he has a source that is saying she was seen at Walgreens that day. So that kind of was good news to me because I don't want to play around with, okay, was this really that day? Was it not? That was just too much for my brain. I was like, oh gosh, like, how could they have set this up? But so I just thought that was worth noting. But yeah, until we see the metadata and the digital forensics from the picture or the TikTok videos and the milk jug pictures, they were pretty much saying like, we don't have reason not to think it's from that day, but in the grand scheme of things, like maybe it wasn't, but who knows? They felt like she was super defensive about when Ansley Daniel asked, how often do you contact the sheriff office? Grandus's response and tone, demeanor, body language, facial expression, everyone pretty much in chat was agreeing too. She just seems very much on the defense, annoyed, irritated. Is that how you guys are kind of picking up on this whole interview with Grandus? Like, did it seem like she was bothered to be there? Did it seem like she was like angry about it? When she came out, this wasn't a Chris McDonough note, but when she came out and said, I know I haven't gotten a lawyer and Candace hasn't gotten one because I asked her, that kind of stood out to me because I was like, why did she even have to ask Candace? To me, that almost makes it seem like, I wonder if they don't trust each other 100%. Like Don, Grandus, Candace, Candace, Grandus, Candace, Don, Grandus, Don. Like, is everyone kind of like in this triangle of like, who can I trust? And that's why it's like she had to come out and say, and I know Candace hasn't gotten a lawyer because I asked her. Like, to me, that kind of stood out as like, so did you think there was a chance that Candace would get a lawyer and not tell you about it? You know what I mean? Like, I just was like, she seemed kind of like, I don't know. I just would have loved to have been like a fly on the wall when she approached Candace. What's this about you getting a lawyer? You know what I mean? Like, how did that conversation go? I don't know. Yeah, exactly, Margot. That's another thing is she said they must not be that close. My mom would know 100%. Right. Like if that's what I mean, like what's going on, like yes, Caroline, Caroline, divide and conquer. Like I just feel like maybe they're feeling like who's gonna turn on me, who's not, you know what I mean? And that's just my opinion. That wasn't a Chris McDonough note. But let me go back to the notes. Okay, so another part in that interview, remember when they're talking about how often do you contact law enforcement? And she says that whole thing of they can come talk to me anytime. They can ask me questions if whatever they want to ask. It doesn't give like her tone and like the way that sounds. It's like doesn't make an inviting like atmosphere. Like I would, welcome them to come over, and I have no problem opening my doors up to them and let's go through what we have. It wasn't really like that. She was just very like barky. Like they can come and ask me any questions they want to ask. They can contact me. And she said something about not talking to law enforcement since the YouTubers were there and for trespassing. And Chris McDonough brought up like the point of like TBI and FBI have nothing to do with some little petty trespassing thing, So for her to use the excuse of they haven't contacted me since those YouTubers were up on the hill trespassing, she could still be reaching out to TBI and FBI. And in my own thoughts, I almost always wondered, like when those YouTubers came down to protest at TBI and when they came down to protest at Child Protective Services, and they made up that whole like, it was a whole scene, remember? I always kind of thought in my mind, like, gosh, if that was my daughter missing, like I almost feel like I'd be out there protesting too. Like, where is she, guys? Like, your TBI, your FBI, why haven't you given us more? You know what I mean? But it didn't go that way, obviously. They brought up the point that it just doesn't seem like it seems like she's not interested in asking them questions. She's only interested in defending herself, saying they can ask her anything they want, So if you look at it from a big picture, it's like, they're sitting in their houses, quiet as heck, not reaching out to law enforcement. It's just kind of like, really? Other mothers, other family members. There's been so many documentaries. I know you guys have all seen them, the true crime documentaries that are like, I was calling them up, and even from the cops' perspective, they've said like the mother would show up at our station every week asking for updates. Like we've seen it. We've all seen it in other cases. No problem, CDT. We've seen it in other cases, and that's sort of what Chris McDonough was talking about with Steve when they're saying like there's just human nature, human behavior. It's just patterns that you can rely on. When Gabby Petito went missing, the press conference with her mother in tears. I mean, it's hard to even watch. There's other cases. I mean, even Madeline McCann, people have their suspicions or whatever, but I remember the mother looking so frail and just like distraught in some of those early photos and images. And we just don't really get that with Candace and Grandus. And it's just kind of unsettling, and it doesn't really make much sense. And it goes against, like they were saying last night on the live stream, it just goes against human nature. It is what it is. You can rely on the certain things in certain instances. When she's talking about the disappearance of Rose in the beginning of this live stream, in my opinion, she was different. It was a different vibe, different feel, no defensiveness, So what else were they saying in their notes? Okay, so yeah, they also brought up the fact that wasn't an appointment, like a doctor's appointment. That was a random ER trip. So again, if we're looking at oddities and just strange things, like of all days, Candace had to emphasize she needed to go get that looked at. Because even Grandus says in her interview, like, Candace was worried because her knee was messed up. And Candace wanted her to get it checked out. So she was worried. It says in quotes, referring to Candace, for some reason, Candace was the one who thought, you're going here that day. You need to get this checked out. They talked about convincing language about her knee. I have a bum knee. I was hurting. I have a knee replacement. It's just all these things like, okay, I had to get a shot in my knee. They gave me a prescription for my knee because it was hurting, and, I have a bum knee. Like, it just is like, okay, like we know that much. She was very comfortable, and they pointed this out too last night. She was very comfortable giving the details of her doctor's appointment. Well, her random ER trip, but very few details about what took place really with Summer once Summer went missing. What else? So yeah, they were also bouncing around the idea, and it's just a theory. They even made it known. This is hypothetical. This is just theoretical. But is it possible that Grandus dropped off H and Candace and Summer at the horse pond? Because they're pretty much theorizing that the way that Grandus's language is, and again, this guy's a lingual expert. An analyst. He teaches it, you guys know who I'm talking about. Pretty much he was just saying the vibe that he got, like when she's talking about that day and the events, it didn't really sound like she was there at the water hole, because she's like, and Summer went missing. Like she was like questioning it, like didn't really believe it. So they're just saying that it's possible that maybe Grandus dropped them off at the horse pond, or did they drop off Grandus at the ER and then go back? You know what I mean? It just seems like there was language and vibe that Grandus wasn't with them at this swimming pond, the horse pond. And what do you guys think about that theory? Do you guys think that Grandus was at the pond with them? If you think Grandus was at the pond, press 1. If you think it's possible that she wasn't there, press 2. I definitely think it's possible that she wasn't there. It's just very hazy when H and Candace talk about the swimming hole. It's very like, stories just seem kind of weird. Like, where is Grandus this whole time? Grandus walking down to go to the pond after just having knee problems, that was so urgent that Candace had to bring her to the. So think about it. It was so bad that Candace had to emphasize, you got to go get that checked out. You have a knee replacement. Something could be wrong with it. We're bringing you to the ER. We're going. And then we're to believe that in that same day, after being so adamant that her mother get that checked out, we obviously all want our moms taken care of, and it's scary and it's sad when, they get older and you have to, mom, make sure you're going to the doctor or get that checked out. Like, even my own mom, make sure you get that checked out. So Candace put in the emphasis of getting her mom help that day, but then is like, we're going to go swimming, come walk down to the pond. There's no chair down there. There's no bench. When you go to a swimming area at like a state park or whatever, they'll have like a bench, or, you bring a bench or a folded chair, even a lawn chair in your trunk or something. Candace walked down to the pond after having to go to the ER. Let me just look in chat right now and see what you guys are at. I did see a lot of 2s. Lots of 2s. I don't even see a single 1. There's a 7 in there, but I'm going to assume that was a mistake. Okay, yeah, Pink Dahlia. She said she got a shot, but you can't go walking. Knee problems suck. Yeah, I'm assuming it was like, and everyone was theorizing a cortisone shot. I don't know much about them, but I know a lot of people get them in their knees and shoulders. I'm not believing that of all days, that was the day she had to go to the ER, and then she had to have her mom go down to the horse pond with them. Yeah, Rumple Long Hair said, I had major ACL knee surgery. You can't walk down a hill. I mean, I have a hard time walking down a hill, and I don't have like, I'm not Grandus, we'll just say, as far as age, but it just is not, I don't know. Yeah, maybe because Jordan said unless she got a pain shot. Yeah, she wasn't really specific on what shot she got. She said a shot in the knee for the pain, but I don't know if it was like cortisone. It's supposed to help. I don't know. I'm not going to pretend to know, but I just feel like if something was that bad that you had to go to the ER that day, why would you also insist, hey, mom, walk down here and stand here while Summer swims? You know? Miss Vixen said, do we know how often Grandus called Wisconsin cops to check on search for Rose? That is a really good question, and I would love to know. Okay, let me go back to Jordan said, I work in medical and I thought knee replacements were plastic. I have no idea. I know that my brother had extensive knee ACL surgery and he's got like pins in his knees, but I don't know what a replacement. I'm not sure. Yes, Miss Jeanette, that is so true. Some people go to the ER for the pain pills. Yeah, that is so true. And it's sad because when you really need something, one time my ex and I went to the ER because he had chipped his tooth and it was just like causing pain. And we were literally treated as if we were just there for that. Like he wasn't even thinking like, give me meds. He was thinking like, can you give me a solution? Like, I think something's like needs to get fixed or whatever. And they treated him and us at that stay at the ER as if like, oh, you're just here for the pills. And that's not what it was, but you're totally right. It happens in a lot of situations, sadly. All right, back to the notes from Chris McDonough and Steve, the lingual analysis expert. So at one point, Grandus says, and then we came home. So she says, and so she's talking about the swim hole, and then we came home. So they were pretty much saying the phrase and then is used as a phrase to express time that has passed. So whenever anyone says blah, 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 and then, you're supposed to assume time has passed from in between the time you were talking about something from the time you say something, whatever's after then. So they came home. So swimming, then we came home. And he's saying the phrase and then is just a means to pass time, and he thinks that it's possible that she's using that phrase because there's a lot of information that's actually lost and not accounted for between the time from the pond to home. So that time, we want to know, okay, at what point did you guys decide? Because Candace says it was like less than 30 minutes of a swim. What happened? Like you rounded up and then you said, we're going to get going. Where did Summer change? You went to get slushies, all this stuff, according to Candace and according to H. But in Grandus's story, she's saying, and then we went home. So they're swimming, then they're home in Grandus's story. So that's interesting. And he was pretty much expanding on that and saying, when people lie, it's very stressful. It's stressing on your brain. You want to protect yourself, even subconsciously, from having to put yourself in like stressful situations. Like when you're going to lie and you're like, oh man, like, is my eye twitching or do I look like I'm lying? Can they tell I'm lying? Your body goes into like this stress mode and people lie and say things and omit things to protect themselves from having to go through that stress of lying. So instead of making up fluff in between that time or trying to say what Candace has said at this point, she fills the script with, and then we were home. So I thought that was interesting too, because yeah, we want to know, like, from the time you said, okay, Summer, let's get going, change into your clothes and let's hang this wet bathing suit. Where was the bathing suit? It's just in Grandus's car. Like, just makes no sense. Is it bashed up on the, like, rolled up on the floor? Is it in the truck bed? It's just these little things that you would think Grandus would say, like, well, we had a plastic bag from her clothes, so we put her wet bathing suit in that, and then we hit the road. Like, it's just, there's no detail, there's no whatever. It's just, we're here, and then we're there. And all that information is lost and not accounted for in this timeline because she's protecting herself from the stress of lying. And that was their opinion. And I feel like that very well could be. I mean, we want more information. It's just the same thing over and over. The script, as everyone's saying it. So for some reason, I'm not sure how old her vehicle is. Does anyone know what year Grandus's vehicle is? Exactly. Sleepless in South Africa said, I feel like I would remember the smallest little detail of the day if my 5-year-old went missing. Yeah. It's just something you don't really forget. And hi, Alex Erickson. I was just talking about your information and live stream on Rose Bly earlier. And hi, Roxanne. All right. Let me just look at my notes. Oh, okay. So at this one part, I was like, are you kidding me? Chris McDonough, and everyone knows, I mean, who watch him, he doesn't really give us like his theory. Like, he doesn't really tell us like what he's thinking, that, as far as like his idea of what happened that day. Like, he's very like elusive and very like, I'm not gonna say blah blah blah. And I'm just been like wanting to know, like, what do you think happened? And don't you know, as soon as he kind of goes into like what he was thinking and his theories, his sound was like cutting in and out. And Steve was like, you're buffering. And oh my gosh, I'm not even joking. And I'm sure if you guys watched it, you know what I'm talking about. There was like a part where he was like really gonna say like his feelings and what he thought happened, and all of a sudden it was like, and Steve was like, "You're cutting out," and I was like, "No," and then he was like, "Can you hear me now?" And it was this whole like back and forth, like, "Can you hear me?" type thing, and I was like, and I couldn't. He never said like expanded further, but he said, what I did hear and what you guys can hear is he's not convinced that it was a random abduction. He said it first, he started to say it could, and he said him and Steve were on the same level, an idea of thinking. Could be an accident at the water hole or the stairs or playing hide and go seek. And he said, I'm not convinced it's a random abduction. And random means stranger. It's not a stranger. It's not somebody who Summer never knew, So he's saying, yeah, I don't think that it was that. We think that an accident at the pond, at the swimming hole, and at the maybe the stairs or playing hide and seek is a possibility. And then he starts to say, like, after not a random abduction, he kind of starts to say what kind of abduction he thinks it could be. And then that's when it started buffering. And I was like, no. So it was kind of annoying, but hopefully he'll expand on that again sometime. All right. So the nap, they thought the nap, obviously, like everyone else, was a significant change in the script. And everyone heard her say that they took a nap, right? Like, she said they took a nap, I think, before they started planting the cactus or something. I don't know. That whole order was off too. The time of the nap and stuff, I was like, you guys have to re-listen to it again, but comment below too. But it some order of operations there was out of whack. Because of the nap. The nap kind of threw a wrench in the whole story. There's, in my opinion, and plus, remember, there was messages floating around of Grandus talking to a friend and I know CDT and Amanda will remember this. In the beginning of this case, there were messages floating around of Grandus talking to one of her friends on Facebook Messenger. And Grandus said, I gave her a piece of candy. I think in that she said to her friend that she took a nap. I could be wrong. So a lot of people are saying that this whole nap thing just came up out of nowhere. But from what I remember, back when we were looking through these alleged messages with a friend, she mentioned the nap. The candy was mentioned, and I'm pretty sure she said something. Okay, yes, Brenda said she went in and took a nap. Okay, yeah. So this isn't the first time, although a lot of people weren't sure if that was really Grandus in those messages. So it was kind of like, well, is this real messages? Because, you just never know with screenshots. And people make up fake stuff all the time in true crime cases for attention. Sad but true. So yeah, okay, yeah, CDT, right. And she mentioned peppermint. Okay, interesting. So those details haven't changed. In my opinion, because everyone's like, oh, wow, Candace must have been really upset that her mother said that she was taking a nap. I honestly think that this story and the nap is what she told law enforcement. So Grandis is keeping her stories the same. The candy, the nap, obviously the ER. That, I think, this is the stuff that she told law enforcement. And to me, that means they're all kind of protecting themselves. So if Grandis told law enforcement that that's how things went, she's not going to come out now knowing that law enforcement is watching, and she's not going to just say what Candace wants her to say. She's going to protect her story and her butt. So everyone was like, oh, wow, maybe Candace was upset. But at the same time, it just seems like everyone's kind of protecting themselves in all this. Don saying, I have 7 alibis. Candace has none. Don throwing her under the bus numerous times. Watch your kids. I mean, that's what he said. So it just seems to me like this nap thing, as it comes out as kind of like random, but I'm just thinking that she's just she knows law enforcement's watching, and they're going to look at her story and they're going to compare it to their notes. And for some reason, Grandis has decided, I'm sticking to this nap narrative. It keeps me safe. And oddly enough, in my notes, it says, which is a statement that Steve pretty much was saying, let me look. Oh, one of the number one alibis people use is, I couldn't have done it. I was asleep. So for, ex law enforcement, homicide detectives, lingual expert, lingual analysis, whatever his name is, we know that channel, in my opinion, is credible as far as their opinions and what they think is what's going on or whatever. And he's saying that that's one of the number one alibis and excuses people kind of give you. I mean, they probably know what they're talking about. They've seen it over and over. So here we have Grandis, I took a nap. A nap kind of accounts for a lot of time where you have an excuse for not being aware of what's going on. You know what I mean? Like, you've placed yourself safely somewhere where you can just be laying there, not paying attention to whatever. And it's excusable. So that's why it was interesting that Steve said that that's one of the number one alibis people use. It kind of makes sense. Like, I was asleep, or nobody woke me, or I didn't hear it. I was, asleep. It's just very interesting to hear their perspective. And another thing that they were pretty much saying they don't feel, from their point of view as ex-law enforcement, they don't feel like this law enforcement agency, TBI, FBI, everything that they've been doing in this case has been wrong. Like they're saying, from what we see, it looks spot on. You know, they did everything that they were supposed to do. They have the FBI card team looking into this. TBI was out searching, which I'll pull up that right now, actually. Because those were pretty much all the notes I had on the interview room's analysis of Grandus and my own analysis of Grandus. Yeah, I got everything that I wanted to say as far as the notes and all that. But yeah, they are just saying, you know, have faith in law enforcement. From what they see, everything's on point. You know, and I have no problem calling out corrupt authorial figures, you know, not just law enforcement, like district attorneys, you know, if we have reason to say this is corrupt, this is not right, what's going on here, I got no problem doing that. You know, we did that because of the Moab police in the Gabby Petito case. You know, like you know, when there's something not right. You know, the Seattle Police Department in the Kurt Cobain case, the Watts case, in my opinion, in Colorado. Like there's times when you search a case and research a case where you're like, wow, you know what, this is just not how things are supposed to be done. That's corruption. I have yet to feel that way in this case. I don't know the agencies as well, because it's an ongoing investigation, so we don't know what mishaps they've maybe done or whatever. But if Chris McDonough and Steve are saying everything looks on point and we should support and trust that they know what they're doing, then that's, at this point, that's what I'm going to do. All right, so can you guys see this? Yeah, this was posted in a Summer Wells Facebook group 5 days ago. So yeah, Summer Wells disappearance. Search continues for a young Tennessee girl. Will change it to 265 days after going missing. And then everyone knows the TBI was searching. Let me see if there was stuff that was interesting to me in this. It's just talking about how she was supposed to celebrate her 6th birthday. Do you guys think that they got a tip off? Is that why they went out there? I almost feel like they got like a tip or something. Says that they were focusing on areas previously identified points of interest. I wonder what made them points of interest, if it was like a dog smell or okay, when was Summer Wells last seen? Summer Moon Utah Wells was last seen at her home in the Beach Creek community of Hawkins County, Tennessee, on afternoon of June 15th. Officials from more than 4 dozen agencies turned the Beach Creek community upside down, looking for the young girl for weeks. Specialized units searched more than 1,000 acres by foot and air. Dive teams were also brought into the search to search the lakes and ponds. And also, I heard, not through this article, but the canines that they were using, I heard that to keep them kind of rested and not overworked and better, you know, I don't know, conditioned to search, I guess, they had the dogs riding on the ATVs with the people. I thought that was a nice visual to picture, you know, like they don't just put these dogs out there and work them like horses all day. Like they're going to take care of the dogs. They're going to make sure that they just don't spend this whole time walking through this treacherous terrain and getting too tired that their scents are all thrown off. So I thought that was interesting that they let the doggies ride on the ATVs too. Was Summer Wells abducted? Tennessee. Okay, the TBI said the disappearance of Summer Wells remains under investigation, but as to the question of if she was abducted, the agency's answers remain the same. While investigators do not have any evidence that Summer was abducted, they have been covering all their bases. They have interviewed known sex offenders in the area. They also have been following up on all vehicle descriptions given to them that may be in that area that day. One of those vehicles, law enforcement officials would like to find is a 98 to 2000 maroon or red Toyota Tacoma with a full bed ladder rack and white buckets in the truck bed. A witness who is regularly in the area as part of his job spotted the truck in the area. Investigators would like to speak to that driver. At this time, there is no evidence that she was abducted. However, all the avenues continue to be explored, including foul play and the possibility that she wandered off and became lost in the mountainous and rough terrain surrounding her home. The TBI wrote, "We are asking anyone who saw Summer at any time on Tuesday, June 15th to come forward if they haven't done so already. The TBI has added a Q&A to their blog about Summer's disappearance on their website." Oh, interesting. That'd be interesting to look at. Not tonight, but in the search of Summer Wells still considered active? While the initial active search has long been suspended, law enforcement officials said that they will do any search based on credible information, but that information has been lacking. Officials said, okay, that's interesting. They will do any search based on credible information, but that information has been lacking. That could also, mean parents aren't being cooperative. Like, it just seems like they're not giving them enough to go off of. Officials said the search, like the one conducted on Tuesday, was due to the changes in terrain conditions. So they're saying that it was from, winter's coming to an end. It's a little muddy. Let's get out there and see if things are different. So I guess it wasn't a tip according to this, but who knows? They're also urging all residents in that area to continue to check their properties, especially as the overgrowth dies down due to the cooler weather, for any evidence of Summer on their property. So it's just going into the tips. A lot of the tips are speculation-based tips. Have Summer Wells' parents been investigated? Don Wells, Summer's father, has been convicted of multiple violent felonies and served prison time for convictions involving drugs and burglaries in Arkansas, Utah, and Texas. In the late 1990s and early 2000s, he was cited for numerous parole violations. Summer's mother, Candace Bly, also has a criminal record in the state of Wisconsin, most recently a guilty plea on misdemeanor domestic DA charges in 2003. Sheriff Lawson had also stated he didn't believe Don Wells' criminal history played into this case. He said Summer lives with her parents and 3 siblings at their home. The sheriff said Summer's parents are continuing to fully cooperate. So this must just be, this person's not up to date. Because that goes against what he recently said. So this just gives this, call 1-800-TBI-FINE. The latest description, Summer is described by investigators as 3 feet tall, weighing about 40 pounds, blonde hair, blue eyes, last seen wearing gray pants and a pink shirt. She is believed to be barefoot and her hair is shorter. It could be grown out by now. But let me just see what you guys are saying in chat. Hi, Looking Beyond. Thanks for being here. Okay, yeah, I did see that. The constable was arrested and charged with a felony around the time it was on the news. He was keeping drugs from bus to train his dog sniff out drugs. So he was busting people and then using the drugs to train his dogs. Is that what I sort of briefly caught that when I popped in Benny's live stream? I wasn't sure what was kind of being said and I didn't kind of stick around long. And I feel bad always popping in there and asking his mods to give me an update on what's going on. So I like popped in and then left. So is that what was going on looking beyond? Lawson is bad news. What is the deal? Like, I know that people have been saying that. I don't know, like, what has he done? The only thing I'd seen was he was something about he did some huge drug bust or something, involved in some bust or something. I don't know. And I don't know. I think they're still talking. All that glitter says is Benny and Candace still talking. I think so, because he explained that whole calling her the B word was just him goofing around, and he does that, to women a lot, I guess. I don't know. But you know what I do know? Keep Candace talking. And Grandus too, which I highly doubt will happen. But I don't know what's going on in all the details, but as long as they're keeping her talking, then I'm happy to hear that. Just looking through chat. Oh, feel better, all that glitters. All right, guys. That's really that's all I had to kind of share with you guys tonight. I linked in my community page CDT's live stream from earlier today. So if you want more summer talk and more, bouncing ideas around and theories and just facts, check that stream out, because there was a lot of good information there. CDT said, don't go. My laptop battery is running low. It's like blinking at me. But yeah, I mean, all I have to say really is, this is the first missing child case that I've ever covered on my channel. And it's very strange to do because it's ongoing and you just don't know, like, what information you can rely on, because everything's hearsay, or it's suspect speaking and they're a suspect. So how can you believe what they're saying? So I just feel like we all just do, especially my chat, we all just do our best to kind of piece through everything that we've been given. And, we just all want Summer to be found. And we want whoever is responsible for this to be held accountable, whether it's the people who are on the suspect list now or somebody we don't even know about. I want to know what happened to her, and we're all just going to keep talking about it. So, they talk about, we don't want speculation on social media. Well, that's just what's going to happen, unfortunately, for anyone kind of involved. But it's just, we have to keep the pressure on, the public officials. I would love another press conference. It's not unheard of that they would give a press conference in the middle of an investigation. So, it'd be nice. But again, guys, I just really appreciate all you guys being here. We will talk very soon, and hopefully we'll get some more information in between that time. And again, I just want to thank you all for being here. Yes, Sandy Grant. If they give us more facts, we could be more correct. Exactly. They said something recently, and it was like, lots of rumors going around about the case, and it's not helpful, or something along those lines. And all I could think was like, well, how about you just come out and like set some of the rumors straight, or let us know what the update is. Are we to me, this whole truck thing, I just noticed reading through this, it seems to me they're pretty positive it's a Toyota Tacoma. Like, I just feel like in other cases, and I could be wrong, they weren't so specific about the make and model. Like, they would say a blue sedan or a minivan or a white van, but for this to say a maroon or red Toyota Tacoma, I don't know, it just seems so specific, doesn't it? 98 to 2000. I don't know, it just seems like they really know, like, this vehicle, and they want them to come forward, and they're not. So yeah, I want to know. Yeah, who would have white buckets in the bed though? I don't know. I mean, what would that indicate? Painting? I mean, I don't know. You think the Toyota Tacoma seems like another script? Possibly. Yeah, CDT. I see what you mean about this specifically. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, could be a painter, drywaller, you know? Yeah, my ex, who was a contractor, she said they use theirs. What does drywall mud come in? Good question. I'm sure there's some handy people in chat or replaying this. They could comment down below. Yeah, it could be any construction job, really. Agree. Yeah, those buckets, they're very versatile, like when you're doing that type of work. They're definitely not Home Depot buckets because everyone knows those buckets are bright orange. The ladder rack, Rosie says, did it have ladders too? I thought it did. I thought they had said something like a ladder rack, but for some reason, did this description have the ladder? I don't know. All right, anyways, I will message my mod soon, probably right after this stream. So we will talk soon. And I thank all my mods and everyone else. We'll talk soon. And thanks again for being here.